Prime Minister Bruce Golding of Jamaica, and this is the second time I'm being, you know, really impressed with where this man is. This is from the Punch Caribbean Beat section, Thursday, March 12th.
The Punch. The Punch is garbage.
The Punch carries good, wholesome news from the Caribbean.
Oh,
if you want to find out what's going on in the Caribbean, the only way you're going to know it is by reading that section of it.
Bahamas, the Punch has never be too far off.
Most of those stories they carry, people
it.
have taken the information to him. This one from March 12th, Thursday. PM insists we will not change laws on sissy sex. Kingston, Jamaica. Jamaica's Prime Minister insisted that his government will in no way bow to pressure from individual groups or foreign governments to give free rein to buggery or sissy sex. PM Bruce Golding said he will never support acts or threats of violence or intimidation in any shape or form against persons because of their sexual preferences and lifestyle. However, he added that his government would never give legal endorsement to such practices. We will never start peeping in anybody's bedroom to see what they are doing in privacy, but what we are not going to do is to give official or legislative endorsement that holds that up and says this is a perfectly acceptable way of life. And all decent, right-minded Caribbean people say to him, hooray.
Let's cut to the chase, Erin Green. The people out there on the street are saying wolf in sheep clothing. Oh, she's talking about rights for women, feminist this, feminine that. When in truth or reality, she is just trying to sissyfy the entire Bahamas. That is the word out there. That is what is being presented to me when I said I'm inviting Erin Green to come on the show.
It is crawl my flesh when you talk about women using women as a proxy to get whatever you want for the gay agenda.
What crawls my flesh is that I'm out there working on a women's rights agenda, and it seems as if Bahamians don't care. It seems as if Bahamians are satisfied to allow my sexual orientation to interfere with their participation.
Erin, are you trying to have sex with every woman you meet?
No.
So, what is the problem then?
Listen.
Why can't they support?
Hold on. That's a. Let's talk about that. You see, that question makes me uncomfortable, right? Why don't you ask me a question like this? Are people more concerned with sexual behavior and sexual practices than they are with sexual orientation? Are people more concerned about how you doing, what you doing, or what you doing? I'm concerned that Bahamians aren't outraged. Listen, I'm concerned that Bahamians aren't outraged at the level of violence directed towards women and children in this country. I'm also concerned that Bahamians aren't outraged at the levels of violence directed towards men in this country. It was only last year that the Domestic Violence Amendment Acts were enacted, and the new Sexual Offenses Amendment Acts were enacted. The Domestic Violence Act has expanded the definition of domestic violence and abuse. It has recognized the fact that men are also victims of violence. But I haven't heard anybody talking about what a progression that is. I haven't heard anybody talking about the steps forward that we're making. I haven't heard anybody talking about the extremely horrific levels of incest in this country. In fact, my organization, the Rainbow Alliance of the Bahamas, is the only NGO to speak publicly about the creation of a child sex offender registry. We were the first organization to start talking about it.
Ms. Green.
We've already met with Ministry of Social Services to put our input in. I don't hear anybody in the country crying about that. I don't hear anybody in the country concerned about what's going on to our women and children, what's going on to our men in the prisons, what's going on to our boys in the reform school and our girls in the reform school. We had a girl who was being prostituted by her mother, taken to the reform school. She didn't understand why she was there, why she was being criminalized. In fact, not even the reform school. She was taken to a children's home. She preferred to be in the care of her family. She ran away from the children's home. They recaptured her and sent her to the reform school. When she acted out again, they sent her to prison. What happened to that girl who was a victim? She was criminalized. She was turned into a criminal and put into prison. Big people prison, Fox Hill, where people be escaping. But there's nobody outraged about that.
It happens to boys every day.
And I just said that.
Every day it happens to boys.
Every time I open my mouth to speak about these issues that should be important to all of us, all I hear is, oh, she's a gay person. What makes her, what gives her the authority to talk about these things?
They're saying you only want to sleep with them.
Today's show was brought to you by Bahamas Issues Gone Wild.
uncensored conversation, real talk. Win your free $20, $50, and $100 phone card when you sign up and see your picture on our site.
Listen, let's talk about the Constitutional Reform Committee. And see, we can't even cite this. We can't cite the report. We can't cite the process as something substantive because
homosexuality is legal here in the Bahamas.
It is legal, but listen to what I'm saying.
Mr. Bahamas.
Miss Green.
Hold on, Mr. Taylor. Let me.
You're not giving me a chance.
No, I'm not giving you a chance.
I'm a man.
I'm trying to.
You're not giving a man a chance. You speak about women all the time. You actually crawl my flesh, I told you. But what I have to say is, I've been on your site.
Women crawl your flesh?
No, you and your agenda, you speak of women in a way as if you have, like you have this...
Answer the question, Mr. Bahamas.
No, my question, no.
Woman crawl your flesh?
No, women, I love women. But Mrs. Green's agenda, she take every woman and put it in one bundle, and she's looking out for women. But my thing is, I've been on your site this morning, right? And
what site is that?
Hold on, just hear me out.
No, but tell the people what site that is.
Erin Green, I've been on your site online.
What site is that? I personally don't have a site.
Well, if you don't have a site...
Rainbow Alliance of the Bahamas has been disbanded, but we still have a website up that actively updates with current and topical news issues pertaining to the gay community.
Okay, my thing is that I've been on that site, right? And you have a problem with young people or men, the age at 16, you want them to engage with homosexual intercourse, but the government says 18 years of age.
Oh, so what you're talking about is when the Rainbow Alliance addressed the fact that there's a discrepancy in the law as to age of consent. And the position put forward was that if heterosexuals are allowed to engage in intercourse at 16, then why aren't homosexuals allowed to engage in intercourse at 16? Why is there a discrepancy in the law? That is the position put forward.
Erin, I have to say this. My granddaddy was a pastor. Uncle Roll was a pastor. Uncle Junior Taylor was a pastor. My grandmother, Maudlin Taylor, was the modern president of the Spiritual Women Convention. Uncle Charles W. Sanders is a pastor. So to be honest, right, I ain't got no why but you or anyone who is a homosexual, but I don't think it's right. And saying that the piggyback of the law, I don't think the Bahamas should have had a law saying that you could have engaged in sex at 18.
Yeah, but the PLB...
everybody entitled to their rights or what they feel. But now, what I was brought up by, hear me call of all them pastors in my family, they tell me, based on the Bible, homosexuality is wrong. It's a sin. And I try not to sin.
So you saying that you say you don't think 18? You're saying that it shouldn't have been
shouldn't
legalized.
be done at all. Yeah,
okay,
it shouldn't be legalized.
Let's talk about this from a human rights perspective, right? Because what we're talking about are sexual rights and sexual reproductive rights, right? Basically, all human beings have the right to engage with whatever consenting adult they choose. Consenting adult, right? You cannot tell somebody who they can have sex with.
But the Bahamas claims to be a Christian nation. Scratch that from the records. Don't say we're a Christian nation and you can legalize homosexuality.
Let's get this right. Don't say that we're a Christian nation because our Constitution doesn't say it.
The Constitution doesn't say it.
Just recently, Mr. Fawkes and George Smith, former parliamentarians, men who helped to write the Constitution. Both of them have come out and stated that this idea that the Bahamas is a Christian nation is a legal fallacy. And the proper...
So why do we have a Christian...
Let her finish.
Let me finish his statement, right? And that our preamble simply purports that we were a country that was grounded in Christian principles, but now we move forward to a country based on spiritual values. We are a democracy. We are not a theocracy. There is a legal obligation to recognize all religions. We have, in Chapter 3 of our Constitution...
Hit the nail on the head, Ms. Green. You hit the nail on the head.
Freedom of and freedom from religion.
Thank you very
much.
Right?
Now let's get to the Bahamas Christian Council. Why do we have a Bahamas Christian Council? The Bahamas Christian Council is simply an NGO, or what they call an FBO, a faith-based organization. Yeah. It has the same power and protection and restrictions under the laws that the Rainbow Alliance had, that the United Haitians Association of the Bahamas has, that the Crisis Center has. The Bahamas Christian Council is simply a special interest group. It was not appointed by any government committee or any government official. It is not mandated by the Constitution.
Erin,
it is simply a special interest group.